I accidentally ruined my best friend's wedding with a TikTok video, and now I'm questioning if I crossed a line. I'm Jenna, a 28-year-old freelance graphic designer who creates eye-catching content for social media. My best friend Leela and I have been inseparable since high school, bonding over quirky fashion and pop culture. When Leela got engaged to Mark, I was thrilled, until I learned she was planning a backyard bohemian fiesta wedding with colorful decorations and a live band. The incident happened on the wedding day. The atmosphere was electric, filled with laughter, music, and the enticing smell of tacos. As the maid of honor, I was responsible for capturing the event on my phone. I was in my element, filming the dancing, heartfelt speeches, and even an unexpected piñata. Then an idea struck me. Why not go live on TikTok to share the joy with friends who couldn't make it? I couldn't resist the chance to spread some of that wedding magic. I set up my phone on a nearby table, turned on the live stream, and began narrating. We're here at Leela and Mark's wedding, and it's absolutely stunning. Look at that cake! I waved my phone around like an excited reporter, unaware that Leela was in the middle of her vows, a moment she had prepared for weeks. As the comments flooded in, I felt a rush of excitement until I heard a sharp gasp behind me. Turning around, I saw Leela's face frozen in horror, her eyes darting between me and the crowd. "Jetta, what are you doing?" she yelled, her voice cracking. I froze, the live stream still running, my heart racing. I fumbled to end it, but the damage was done. Leela's vows had become a spectacle for my followers, who were rapidly increasing in number, drawn in by the unfolding drama. The aftermath was chaotic. Leela stormed out, tears streaming down her face, while Mark looked utterly confused. Guests whispered, some laughing awkwardly, others glaring at me. I tried to apologize, but the moment felt irretrievable. I sensed a shift. Laughter turned into disbelief. The reception continued, but Leela didn't return. Days later, when I reached out, she sent a text filled with hurt and anger, saying I had stolen her moment for clout. Now I'm grappling with the consequences of my actions. I genuinely wanted to share a beautiful day, but overshadowed one of the most important moments in Leela's life. I've been reflecting on my intentions and whether I was wrong to think this was a harmless way to spread joy. So, am I the AATA for going live on TikTok during my best friend's wedding vows? I never imagined my love for retro video games would spark a family feud. I'm Jack, a 32-year-old graphic designer from a small Ohio town. My passion for collecting vintage consoles has transformed my living room into a nostalgic shrine that attracts friends and fellow gamers alike. It's my sanctuary, a place to escape into pixelated worlds and relive childhood moments. But for my sister, Claire, 3 years younger and fiercely competitive, it's a reminder of how I've always been the favorite child. One Saturday, Claire invited me over for lunch, saying she wanted to reconnect. I brought her favorite wine, hoping it would lighten the atmosphere. As we chatted, she mentioned she'd bought a brand new gaming console, the latest model with all the features. "You should try it," she suggested, a sly grin on her face. I teased her about finally entering the gaming world while I remained stuck in the past. The mood shifted when I jokingly said, "If you're gonna play, don't expect me to hold your hand." Things escalated when she proposed a friendly competition between her new console and my vintage collection. I thought it would be a fun bonding experience, but as the games progressed, Claire's competitive nature surfaced. She raged at every loss, blaming the old tech. "These games are garbage. You just want to feel superior," she yelled, her face flushed. I tried to calm her, reminding her it was just for fun, but her temper only flared more with each defeat. As we reached the final round, she was practically throwing the controller, and I couldn't help but chuckle. That was a mistake. Claire snapped, flinging a glass of wine across the room, splattering it on my favorite vintage poster. "You ruined everything. You always have to be the best," she screamed before storming out, leaving me stunned and soaked in red wine. In the days that followed, Claire didn't reach out. My parents called, hoping to resolve the situation. I explained what happened, but they sided with her, insisting I should have been more sensitive. "It's just a game, Jack. You should have let her win," my dad said, twisting my stomach in knots. Was I really the villain here? I thought we were just having fun. Now I'm left questioning if I was too harsh on Claire.
Did I escalate a simple game night into a disaster? Or was she overreacting, using our childhood rivalry as an excuse? AITA for not letting her win?
I never thought my cat would spark a family feud, but here we are. My name is Jenna, a 29-year-old graphic designer living in a bustling city. I'm also a proud cat mom to Lilith, my sassy black feline and closest companion. Since adopting her from a shelter 2 years ago, she's been my sidekick, often lounging on my keyboard while I work. One rainy Saturday afternoon, my cousin Miles, my closest friend, asked if he could crash at my place for the weekend. Fresh from a messy breakup, I thought some time away would do him good. I was excited to have him over, and I figured Lilith would enjoy the extra attention. However, things took a turn when Miles walked in holding a small puppy he'd rescued from a local shelter. "Meet Benny," he announced proudly, as if presenting an award-winning trophy. I stared at the excitable bundle of fur, my heart sinking. Lilith had never been around dogs, and I knew she wasn't very sociable. Miles, are you sure about this?" I asked, hoping he'd reconsider. "Nah, it'll be fine. They'll get along," he said confidently as he set Benny down. Within minutes, my apartment turned chaotic, filled with barking and hissing. Lilith puffed up her fur like a balloon, while Benny, oblivious to her distress, wagged his tail like a propeller. After several hours of trying to separate them, I snapped. "Miles, this isn't working. Lilith is terrified. Can't you take Benny back?" He folded his arms and frowned. "This is a rescue mission, Jenna. The dog deserves a chance. It's not about you or your cat." Frustrated, I suggested he take Benny for a long walk to tire him out. He reluctantly agreed, but when they returned, Benny bolted straight for Lilith, who was perched atop the kitchen counter, radiating fury. In an instant, the puppy leapt and knocked over a vase, sending a piece of the vase crashing to the floor. I stared in horror as a piece of the vase struck Miles right on the forehead. After that, he was furious. "You let this happen," he yelled, clutching his head. I felt a mix of guilt and anger bubbling up. "I didn't ask you to bring a puppy into my home." The atmosphere was tense, and I wished I'd never agreed to have him over. Miles spent the rest of the weekend sulking while I tried to comfort a distressed Lilith who wouldn't stop glaring at me. By the time he left, he'd given me the cold shoulder and even implied I'd sabotaged his rescuer dream. Now I'm left wondering, AITA for wanting my cousin to take his puppy back, prioritizing my cat's well-being over his?
When my best friend's wedding turned into a circus, I had to question who the real clown was. I'm Sam, a 30-year-old graphic designer from a small town in Ohio. I've always been the reliable friend, the one who helps plan parties and keep everything running smoothly. So when Jenna, my childhood friend, asked me to be her maid of honor, I felt honored, but also anxious. Wedding planning is a high-stakes game, and I didn't want to let her down. It all started on a sunny Saturday morning 2 weeks before the wedding. Jenna had booked a last-minute venue, an old barn with questionable plumbing, and insisted on a DIY theme. While setting up centerpieces made from mason jars filled with wildflowers, it quickly became clear that her vision was unraveling. Jenna, in her excitement, had forgotten to confirm the caterer. "They're going to be here," she assured me, eyes wide with hope. But as the hour ticked by and our stomachs growled, doubt settled in. Finally, with only an hour until guests were set to arrive, the caterer called to say they were stuck in traffic. Jenna panicked and started throwing together a makeshift buffet with snacks meant for the bridal party. "It'll be fine, right?" She laughed nervously, but I could see the fear behind her smile. I tried to help, but my heart sunk when I realized we were left with a pile of dry crackers and a couple of sad cheese platters. Then Jenna had a wild idea. "What if we offered shots of tequila instead of wine?" she suggested, her face lighting up. I knew it was absurd, but I nodded, not wanting to crush her spirit. The barn filled with laughter and raucous energy, quickly turning into an impromptu tequila tasting. Guests loved it, but I felt a knot in my stomach as I saw Grandma Edith heading to the bar. As the evening rolled on, things spiraled out of control. Jenna, intoxicated and elated, began dancing on a table while I frantically tried to keep the peace. Amidst the chaos, Grandma Edith climbed up next to her only to slip and topple over, landing on top of the buffet table. Food flew everywhere, and the room erupted in laughter while I stood frozen, eyes wide, fearing Jenna might faint. The wedding became a meme-worthy event, with guests posting videos of the dance-off and the infamous buffet catastrophe online. Jenna later called it a perfect disaster, but I felt terrible. I had let things go too far. As we cleaned up the mess, Jenna looked at me with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "You think I'm crazy, don't you?" she asked. I hesitated, then shrugged. Maybe just a little wild. Now I'm left wondering if I should have stepped in more forcefully to guide Jenna. Was it my duty as the maid of honor to rein in her antics, or was I wrong to let her enjoy her day? AITA for not stopping Jenna from making a total mess of her wedding?
I caught my neighbor's parrot spilling secrets about my life, and suddenly I was the talk of the block. I'm Max, a 32-year-old freelance graphic designer who values his privacy. I live in a suburban neighborhood where everyone knows too much about everyone else, so I keep my personal life under wraps. My best friend Jenna is my only confidant, and even with her I tread carefully. So imagine my shock when I heard my neighbor, Mrs. Henderson, laughing on her porch, followed by her parrot, Skittles, reciting snippets of my life like a little feathered gossip. It all began on a sunny Saturday when I was in my backyard, trying to enjoy some peace while working on a client's project. Suddenly, Skittles squawked, "Max has a secret crush! Max likes Jenna!" I froze, my heart racing. I had casually mentioned my feelings for Jenna to her just days before, but I never expected this to be broadcasted to the entire neighborhood. I rushed to the fence, my mind racing. "Mrs. Henderson," I shouted, "can you please keep Skittles quiet?" She called back, giggling, "Oh, he just loves to chat. He's a sweet little gossip." Things escalated when Mrs. Henderson, perhaps in a fit of mischief, invited a few neighbors over for a barbecue the next weekend. As I walked by, trying to avoid the crowd, Skittles took flight and landed on my shoulder. "Max loves Jenna," he squawked again, delighting the gathered guests. Laughter erupted, and I felt heat rise in my cheeks. I tried to laugh it off, but inside, I was mortified. Days went by, and I avoided eye contact with my neighbors, convinced they all saw me as a lovesick fool. Jenna, unaware of the neighborhood spectacle, invited me over to watch movies. Tension bubbled as I debated telling her the truth. Finally, I blurted it out. "So, Mrs. Henderson's parrot, Skittles, has been telling everyone about my feelings for you." Her eyes widened, and instead of laughter, she frowned slightly. "Why didn't you tell me?" Jenna asked. "I thought we were past the games." Her disappointment struck me, and I felt my heart sink. In the aftermath, I confronted Mrs. Henderson about the parrot's antics. "You need to stop this," I said, trying to sound firm but likely coming off as desperate. "It's embarrassing." She waved her hand dismissively. Now the neighborhood buzzes with speculation about Jenna and me. Some neighbors have started teasing me, calling me Max the Lovebird. I'm still trying to figure out if I should embrace the chaos and ask Jenna out formally, or continue hiding behind my fences. So, am I the asshole for wanting my neighbor to keep her parents' beak shut and maintain my privacy, even if it means risking my chance with Jenna?